Hello and welcome again. Today, you're joining me in Boulder Junction. This is in northern Wisconsin. If you're looking to hand something to me in person, that's where I'm going to be. Today, we're going to be addressing what I'm going to call an essential chess set. I'm in a small cabin in a small town, but who said I didn't want to continue to study the Carl Kahn Advanced Variation? How am I going to achieve that, especially in a day and age where screen time is on the decline? I don't want to always be staring at my phone or looking at a laptop screen for that matter, but I do want to continue my love for chess. How can I accomplish that? House of Staunton offers us a very interesting option. I'd like to talk today about the 12-inch travel set from House of Staunton. It comes as a magnetic set, felted bottom. I believe it is a 10 and 12-inch variation available to you. It does travel, it gets through TSA, and this is the third or fourth trip I've taken with it. I'm going to talk about the things I absolutely love about this set and a couple of things I ran into. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Now, I might not have all the gear we usually get to get these reviews out. For a set I really like, I don't want to waste too much time. There's a lot of good things to say about this, and I also don't want to waste too much time before we get to the things that I don't really love about this set. I do want to preface with, I still have this set. I've used it for 3 or 4 vacations now. I've practiced many openings and I've been looking through Silman's endgame guide with it, and I think this is not only my favorite travel set, but it's also a great trainer set. I lay in bed with this sometimes, and you know how most people do, you're not perfectly flat, right? You're leaning up on a pillow, you're getting ready to try to get to sleep eventually, but then you decided to play chess. And here I am at 2:30 in the morning looking at some sort of random Soviet game from the 40s or the 50s, and I've got pieces that luckily aren't coming into my face. Now, here's the plus of that situation. I get to learn chess at obscure times in the night rather than getting sleep. Here's the con. I'm up at obscure times at night trying to learn chess rather than sleeping. But what I will say as I continue to sort of dramatically lean back here is the magnets they chose for this board are pretty darn good. I haven't gotten my hands on a bunch of magnetic sets. I did have 1 or 2 growing up, and I do remember the pieces did come down. Now, that being said, it's not hard to pull these things off. It's very easy, and they're very light pieces, but it's going to get the job done. And as the pieces slowly slide, kind of like I am, into the crevice of the couch and the ottoman here, you see that pieces will move, but not to the point where it's absurd to use them. So I'm going to give this a plus. Now let's get a little closer with the pieces themselves. Remember, this is a travel set. This is not going to be a ceremonial set. This is nothing along the lines of Royal Chess Mall's luxury sets or House of Staunton's luxury sets where you get these fantastical knights. I would equate this to a trainer set, level set of detail. The pawns have a nice wide base and are rounded, not bulbous at the top. A personal preference of mine is that your pawns are spherical at the top, not egg-shaped or anything odd like that. Your rook, so you'll see the same thing here, slightly raised with an extra ring. The rook has a non-tapered top. That means it's squared up at the top. Very easy to pick up. I think it's aesthetically pleasing. The bowl of the rook, or the tower of the rook itself, is not too deep. I don't think it's going to catch too much dirt, grime, or other things, but it's nice to see. Moving on to the knight. The knight typically is the showstopper. The value of the set is almost always carried by the knight. It's an easy indicator. That is not always true. I think I got mine right around the $100 mark. The snout does come down. The eyes are circular and do stand out a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of the eyes, personal preference. The mane is easily etched into the side here. It kind of gives you a little tactile surface there. I like that, easy to grab. So yeah, I like it. It's, I think, an appropriate amount of detail for what we're looking at here. Bishop. Very traditional slit here in the top, along with your hat or crown, your garb, whatever you'd like to call that. I do want to note that there are multiple collar rings and base rings here, sort of indicating a little bit more. Oh, there you go. Magnets work. The king and queen, I think not a lot to be said here. I do appreciate the crown insignia on the king. Some sets choose to go different routes with your insignia on the top. I appreciate the cross, and more traditional like that. Nice tapered collar here at the top. Nothing absurd, but good base and neck regions as well. I've got to learn how to hold a chest piece. Queen, more of a like lateral top, very similar collar and base design as the king. I like it. And then of course you get your knight and bishop on the other end as well. It is worth noting, you do not get extra queens. It is a travel set. You will get one queen, and you're gonna have to deal with that. Hopefully your opponent loses a rook by the time you promote. And we take one more look at the dark pieces here. You're gonna see something very similar as we started with on the light side. Exact same designs. It's gonna be darker. Sounds redundant, but you know, I think it's good to see both sides. I'm very happy with the build quality here. I've already scuffed it a few times and I love that because sure, that first scratch always hurts a little bit, but I'm a firm believer of buy it for life. Whether it's my tools, my chess sets, you know, whatever's around the house, I want to be able to, you know, pardon my language, but beat the crap out of it, right? And I don't have to worry about it. I think this set brings that to mind. Which kind of brings me to my first negative. As I swipe all my pieces here, let's talk about the drawer. The drawer is pretty basic setup here. We've got two very minor slots in the middle, altitude of the drawer, middle altitude. I don't know if that's really the right way to say this, but whatever. And what's going to be rolling along those little paths are two small spring-loaded bearing balls that are held within the drawer itself. Yeah, sure, that's nifty, and primarily because when you get to the middle position or the closed position, as I kind of get this back in here, it keeps the drawer in there, right? For the most part. Yeah, I think it does a pretty good job. You know, I have to be pretty rough with it. And sure, maybe it pops out a little bit, but it's firm enough where it's not sliding all over the place, especially if you're, you know, as I mentioned earlier, maybe you've got the board to a tilt. That's the most important part. Here's the big negative. When you first buy this, at least when I first bought this, getting the drawer out, and I don't mean all the way out, getting the drawer to even halfway out to get, you know, let's say one set of pieces was kind of difficult. You know, you get to here, let's say you get black out. Now I need to get the white pieces out. And, you know, okay, here we go. Now I can get to the king. I'm going to demonstrate a little bit of that. Let's pop this out, and I could get to here with minimum effort, but the king's still kind of buried. I'd really wish that this was a little easier to get to. Grab the king, and be on my way to losing. This is a good set. Just be mindful. It might be a little tricky to get that drawer out. You might have to break it in. Moving on. To help you guys get an idea of how big this set is, here's a standard carry-on. See, the pieces are still on here. Like right around there. With them in the drawers, that's gonna lay flat. You can still put an inch of clothes on here, a hatchet, rocks, whatever you travel with, I guess. We've talked a little bit about the basics of this set, some of the frustrating elements of the drawer, the fantastic magnetic components, some of the design, view, and basic thoughts of the set. I think all in all, this is a definite win. If you're looking for something to go on the road, play in the car, the airport, or even outside on a windy day, I think the design is perfect. And if you can get over that drawer, I think this should be in every serious chess player's home as a trainer kit, whatever you need. I think the last thing I want to mention is, if you didn't notice by now, there is no notation on the set. My personal belief is that while learning notation is great on like a roll-up kit, $40 roll-up kit, if you're getting started, I think it's really important to also practice without notation. I think this board offers that, and if you really need it, go get stickers or Sharpie it on the side, whatever you'd like. Just make sure that if it's not your set, ask first. With that being said, I think that's going to wrap up the review. I'm going to give this an official 9 out of 10. I'm going to be using this until it literally falls apart.